I used to have a lot of trouble and difficulty working through my feelings, um, because I think you grow up and you get socialized in society through school, through family, through just general interaction that certain feelings are okay to be shown and shared, and some definitely are maybe not as palatable to be shared publicly. But having said that, I think sometimes we forget that that also inhibits us and it sort of blocks us from actually letting ourselves even privately feel certain feelings. Um, and it's interesting because you don't really understand fully what you're going through, what you're experiencing, what you're dealing with if you don't take the time to let yourself feel all the feelings fully. So in the past, I would maybe feel fear, guilt, shame, doubt, um, embarrassment, just a myriad of feelings that maybe don't feel so good. Some off of things that I've done myself, some off of the things that people have done to me or said to me, but you kind of have this approach just through, socialization where you're like, no, I gotta be strong, I gotta be tough. I shouldn't be feeling those things. Like, I'm not gonna let myself feel those things. It's not a problem, I'm okay. Push through it, be strong. Especially from a guy's perspective, a masculine perspective. I talked about all this in another video. It's that also gets programmed into you. Like, bro, like why are you being so weak? All that kind of noise and nonsense. And it really didn't help. I mean, I did not make as much progress in anything meaningful in my life, and sustainable progress, right? Maybe you get through things, but it's a workaround. It's not a real solution. So it's like it's a patch. It fixes things temporarily, but before you know it, the problem crops up again, and the problem now might be bigger, and the same patch isn't working. So I've had to kind of work through that for a lot of my life. And over the past few years, especially this year, I've really, really, really understood for myself that the best way and the most sustainable way for me to move forward in whatever I'm dealing with, whatever challenges, obstacles, it's letting myself feel all my emotions, all my feelings. So I don't dismiss fear now. I don't dismiss worry, doubt, hesitation, anxiety, embarrassment, all of it, the good and the bad. I'm just very aware of myself, and I'm very cognizant of the things that I'm feeling. And I almost treat those feelings like people. I give those feelings the room and the space to exist, to be seen and heard by me. And it's so interesting because once I started doing that, they settled themselves down. As in, when I'm feeling fearful about something, instead of denying it or pushing it aside or trying to snuff it out, I listen to it. I acknowledge it. And then I'm able to work through that and say, okay, why am I afraid? What am I afraid of? And then you kind of process and break down, and then the fear goes away. It's so interesting. It's so strange because we often think that we shouldn't feel these things, or even some of these things are wrong to feel, which is, we are complete people. We are complete humans. We run the gamut in experiences and the ability to feel things and do things and express things. It's so varied, but sometimes we're very critical of ourselves. We don't want to deal with some of this discomfort. But this has been one of the greatest pieces of learning for myself, in being able to give myself the grace to actually acknowledge all the different feelings and let them sort of breathe. They have their moment and they go away. It's so interesting. And like, it's a weird analogy that I've had in my mind that sometimes I even picture it in my mind that way. I treat it like a classroom. I'm sitting here facilitating, and I have maybe a semicircle or a circle of chairs, and all my feelings take a seat. And it's like a sharing circle. Everybody gets to talk. Now, I know there are certain things and certain feelings that I need to always give precedence for and make room for. These are the things that will help me build and move forward, right? Whether that's joy and love and peace and happiness and confidence and all these different traits, characteristics, feelings, whatever you want to call them, all these different avatars. I know those are the people those are the voices and the avatars and the children that I want to stay in their seats. But I kind of treat it in a way where everybody gets to take a seat and everybody gets to talk. And I hear everybody out. And I listen to them. And after they're done talking, I almost sort of thank them, and they say, okay, you can go now. You go do whatever it is you got to do. Because you've done your part. You've added value, provided context, given me insight into what you're dealing with, what I'm dealing with. And in that way, it sort of fades, it goes. These feelings, they've been listened to, they've been sort of addressed and dealt with, and then they go. And then I keep the other ones. The ones that I know I need and I want to build on. So, it's fascinating. Once you really start paying attention to yourself, to your mind, to your spirit, and you really become self-aware on what are the things you're feeling, you're going through. And instead of beating it down, pushing it down, stuffing it down, you listen to it. You acknowledge it. You give it the room that it needs for the little bit of time that it's asking of you. Once you do that, you get to move on with your day and your life and really work towards the things that you want. So, this might be something you might be dealing with. This might be something, I know I deal with this all the time, right? This is not something that none of this is where you're like, I get to a point where it's going to be done. Never. This is a lifelong process. But the best part about this is, and to anyone watching, if you're able to understand this process and make it a part of your routine, you have a skill set and the ability to deal with bad times, challenging times, emotional times, ups and downs, where you're able to just acknowledge how you're feeling and then move past it.